Here's a look at a recap of your markets on this Friday, the 29th day of August. It's Friday. We got a lot to talk about, so we're going to hop right into it and get to it. Before we get to those numbers, though, want to remind everybody that a lot of the auctions next week, especially early in the week, are going to remain dark in observance of the Labor Day holiday. Don't think we have any sales on Monday. About half the sales on Tuesday and Wednesday are closed, but then as we get into the end of the week, most of the barns will open back up. Several special cow sales will be coming up in the month of September. Next week, Callaway Livestock Center will have their special monthly replacement cow sale on Thursday at 6 p.m. They're expecting 550 head on the early listings. On Saturday, Ozarks Regional Stockyards in West Plains will have a sale starting at 5 o'clock. Mocan Livestock Market in Butler, they've got a sale scheduled on Saturday, September the 6th at 1 o'clock. They've got over 900 head listed on their early listings there. Jumping into the markets now, negotiated feedlot trade for the week. 54,229 head as of the 2 o'clock cutoff time. Texas reported 4,011 head today, or this week rather, all at 242. That would be $2 higher than last week. Kansas reported 7,599 head. Live sales 242. That was up $2. A few dress sales at 385. Iowa reported 12,460 head. Live sales mostly all at 245. Dress sales from 385, a few up to 395. Most of those sales did take place at 385. In Nebraska, they reported 18,205 head. Live sales from 242 to 246, mostly 245. Dress sales ranged from 380 up to 392, mostly at 385. Box beef cutout values on Friday. Choice closed at $415.41. That was up $1. Select $3.90 even, up $4.16. Those values based on 109 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. The Choice Select spread at $25.41. When all said and done this week, going to end up with about 34,000 head through the auction barns around the state. That's an awful good week for late summer. Drafts of cattle through the auction barns, those lightweight calves, still not seeing a lot of big drafts of calves, still seeing several load lots of yearlings. Regardless of what auction barn you were at this week, some kind of new records were once again established somewhere on some weights. Some set a lot of new records this week. Regardless of where you sold, though, or what barn you were at, prices seem to climb higher all week long. Taking a look at some of those stick-out sales this week. 17 head of 502-pound steers at F&T Livestock Market in Palmyra sold at $518. The weighted average price statewide this week on the light 5-weight steers at $457. 30 head of 561-pound steers at Kingsville sold at $470. Windsor Livestock Auction, they had quite the barn burner this week, setting a lot of the highlights. 22 head of 644-pound steers at $431, a full load of 680-pound steers at $419. They had 17 head of 741-pound steers tagged as fancy, sell at $421. The average price, weighted average price on those light 7-weight steers this week, statewide, $384. A full load of 770-pound steers in Windsor brought $394.50. Lawley Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, they had 29 head of 814-pound steers sell at $362. 123 head of 866-pound steers in Kingsville sold at $359. And then 111 head, 924-pound steers at Joplin Regional Stockyards, $350.50. Taking a look at the heifers, Joplin sold 42 head of 500-pound heifers at $420. The average statewide on those light 5-weight heifers this week, $409. Lawley Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, they had 6 loads of those reputation heifers sell this week, 480 head from 650 to 675 pounds, and all 6 loads brought $390.10, and they did head back to feed, not back to the farm. 146 head of 714-pound heifers in Kingsville sold at $368. The average price statewide this week on those light 7-weight heifers at $356. Taking a look at the futures markets on the Mercantile Exchange. For the week, live cattle were 162 to 265 higher. Lean hogs were 225 to 382 higher. Feeder cattle 197 to 367 higher. Those cattle futures bounced back today after yesterday's sell-off. August live cattle up $4.90 today at $241.90. That'll be the last day of trade for the August. October $239.65 up $272. December $240.77 up $217. Feeder cattle, of course, we lost the August there yesterday. It went off the board, so the nearby is the September up $297 today, $364.77. October at $364.47 up $295, and November at $363.60 up $357. CME cash feeder cattle index based on an 800-pound steer up through the 12-state feeding region through the auction barns. No surprise, another new all-time record, 365.38. Lean hogs for October 95.02 up 75, December 87.40 up 42, and February 89.62 up 32. Turning our attention to the grain markets, seen a bit of green today on the grains. Not something we see lately very often as everybody keeps talking about those record crops. However, there seems to be some doubt creeping in now, and the grains were a bit higher today, especially on the board. Soybeans at the elevators around the state today, 4 to 6 higher. Wheat, 5 to 7 higher. Corn, 9 to 13 higher. Corn bids on Friday at the elevators in the St. Louis region, 407 to 411. Kansas City at 410. Soybean bids in St. Louis, 1026. Kansas City at 969. And St. Louis wheat at 482 to 487. Taking a look at the futures markets on the Board of Trade. For the week, soybeans were steady to 4 lower. Wheat was 6 to 13 higher. Corn was 8 to 10 cents higher. Soybean meal, the nearby September, $13.10 lower for the week. The rest of the contracts not down quite as much, 40 cents to $4.90. On Friday, however, all of the grains closed in the green for the most part, other than the meal and the bean oil. Corn for September on Friday, 12.5 higher, $3.98. December up 10 1/4, $4.20 1/4. March at $4.37 3/4, up 10 1/4. September beans up 8.5, closing at $10.36 3/4. November 10.54 1/2, up 6 1/2. January at 10.72 1/2, up 5 3/4. Wheat contracts September closed 7 3/4 higher, $5.18. December 5.34 1/4, up 5 1/4. March at 5.52, up 6. Soybean meal for September down $2.70 a ton, $2.8360. All the rest of the contracts further out were higher. Soybean oil for September, $51.47 a hundredweight, down 28 cents. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's a recap of your markets for Friday. This is Tony Hancock.